Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Miscellaneous Gab, and today we will be ranking every episode of Black Mirror season 7 from least to best. So if you're still thinking about Black Mirror, if you haven't been able to quite solidify your ranking, welcome aboard. I am going to be making one video that's kind of a little bit of a review of each episode by way of ranking them, and that's partially because I was a little bit late to watching every single episode. Without further ado, I just want to say that overall, I really liked season 7. I think it was better than the two preceding seasons. I think there were some real standout episodes that are going to stick in people's heads and might even be in top 10 territory all-time best Black Mirror episodes. So I really feel like Black Mirror is back, baby. There was no episode in here that I truly felt was awful. I think everything had its merits, even if some I didn't like as much. By the way, this has spoilers. You've been warned. Sorry, I didn't say it at the beginning. The second thing I think is important to preface is my relationship with Black Mirror. I've seen a lot of my friends on Patreon have completely different rankings all over the place because there are different flavors of Black Mirror, different kinds of categories of episodes. Without further ado, let me get into my rankings. Number 6 is Bête Noire. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly. That was episode number 2. Bête Noire is a French term that literally means the bane of one's existence. And I think by the end of that episode, we understand why. So the episode follows Maria, who is this food scientist. She creates chocolates. Enigmatic figure from her past, Verity, who seems to have resurfaced with a vengeance, knowing that Maria and her friends used to bully her. This reminded me of this book I read, this kind of thriller plain read called His and Hers. It was definitely in tune with like a bullied person from the past coming back to seek their revenge in rather weird and effed up ways. It kind of took me a little bit to figure out what was going on. I was very intrigued by the mystery of Verity, and of course I couldn't have called what would ultimately be the explanation. At first, when it's that question of Barney's or Bernie's, I was like, oh, this reminds me of that Berenstein Bears moment that we all had as a collective society. I had to go back and rewind to the first episode right then and there to show that no, it wasn't just a misremembering. What didn't put this higher for me was it was just okay. Like, it was a more fun episode. The tech itself feels like something that is so far into the future that I can't even wrap my head around. This idea that we can jump in and out of different limitless possibilities, quantum universes, but also make sure one person is still experiencing another one. That was kind of fun, but once that was that, I was like, oh, okay. I think Maria immediately going from saving herself to having everybody worship her was kind of funny and revealing about human nature. Ultimately, this episode didn't necessarily stick with me as some of the other ones. Number 5 is Hotel Reveries. Hotel Reverie is a quite unique and interesting premise, with the movie industry being in a slump, some new tech with AI, with simulations, remaking old movies with new actors, and having almost a gamified experience where the actor can't leave the set until they get that last line, the credit rolls. In this episode, an actress named Brandy wants to sign on for a remake of this beloved classic Hotel Reverie, only she has to play the main lead, Dr. Alex Palmer. She is selected right away. There's this information packet she didn't read, and then we realize that she's the lead, but everyone in the movie sees her as the doctor, and they're kind of simulated characters of who they were, particularly the lead role, Clara, whose actress was this beloved, tragic star who died, like many tragic movie stars do, kind of by her own hand in the throes of deep depression and addiction. I loved what we learned about Clara throughout. There's kind of hints there like, oh, she didn't have this chemistry with the original Alex Palmer. We kind of learned that maybe it's because she wasn't really straight, but was never allowed to show her love or be the whole woman that she was. I liked those themes themes. I also like the themes of what makes a person a person. As always, which is quite common in Black Mirror, is the simulation, the simulated version, the AI. Sentient, what are the limits of their sentience? Are we trapping them? What happens when we give them this knowledge? As well as what it means to love. Brandy falling in love with Clara, knowing that she wasn't entirely real by whatever definition that is, and loving her anyway, wanting to save her, going from acting to being invested. One thing that I thought either didn't make sense or was silly was this like idiot ass production team that was clearly so incompetent. They did a lot of things wrong, obviously, but they even forgot to just be like, hey, you've been experiencing months at a time in a matter of hours for us. Like, what happened? Are you okay? I think there was this weird, okay, we're ready to roll, not even knowing that they were experiencing time differently. That just annoyed me. They just seemed like idiots to me. I did like this episode. I just didn't like it as much as others. I know people are saying like kind of the acting maybe wasn't as good, and I wasn't sure if that was on purpose or not. The writing, I did feel like it was a tad bit too long. Definitely one of the longer episodes of this season, but overall an interesting meditation on what it means to be a person and kind of maybe what's in store for the entertainment world, because clearly all those fuck ass producers just cared about that final line, never thinking that maybe Brandy did take the time to fall in love with this person. So kind of how we treat our entertainment icons was also an interesting thing there. Okay, now that we get into the top four, the final four, I just have to say that I have swapped these around so many times. I could really make an argument for why all of these could be higher or lower. So just know that I don't think that any of these are bad. It might just come down to personal preference. Number 4 is going to be the USS Callister Infinity. This is a part 2, an ending of the story from the OG. I thought this episode was so well done. The characters, especially Mr. Walton, kind of getting to go back to Daly as a young person, seeing him as this clone enslaved with the power of God at the center of the universe he created. I felt really bad for him at first and really sad for this poor clone sitting by himself, but until I realized, no, he really is bad. The set design, the production, the music, everything. My favorite kind of themes here are about those digital human rights, which is mentioned at the end during the news story as well. And what responsibility do we have for protecting those as we are able to create increasingly realistic avatars or even clones? And knowing that this technology came out of the corn industry was extremely disturbing and creepy for me. The reason why it's not higher for me, I think completely comes down to personal preference, which is this idea, the gaming, pay to play, some of those themes just are not as high of interest to me because I'm not really big into video games, Star Trek. I loved how the ending was quite bittersweet. Did have Nanette being able to not die, live on the outside, knowing that she was willing to make that sacrifice of herself for her friends, and then her friends were still kind of stuck in a safe but meaningless existence inside of her head. Number 3, we're in top 3 territory, and I really struggle with this. I want to just say that this and 2 are tied. Even 3, 2, 1, I feel like are tied. I changed my mind all around it, but number 3 is Eulogy. I know that Eulogy was some people's top ones, mind blown, tears for days episodes of Black Mirror. If I look at it as a meditation on memory, that memories are the stories that we tell ourselves, and that two people can completely miss each other or live their lives in a way they don't even have to because of the stories they told themselves. It is so tragic. It has that tragedy, that heartbreak. I think this is a kind of story that everybody can relate to in some way, shape, or form. Paul Giamatti did a fantastic job. The emotion, the raw, visceral anger in his voice. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now because he is someone who has hated this person, and it feels so justified in his understanding of history that he is immovable, unshakable until the very end. They could have had this beautiful life together if they hadn't just missed each other. He really doesn't find out until it's too late. I could work myself into tears right now just talking about it. I loved the guide who turned out to be Carol's daughter. better. And I actually thought she was Carol. That was my first thought, because the way she was offering perspectives and looking at it a different way, I'm like, yeah, girl, yeah, you did cheat on her. You guys are both flawed, imperfect people, just like all of us. No one is the winner here. Maybe the pain and the sorrow that she lived with over the years as well. So I think this served as a great wake-up call. I'm trying to come up with a reason why this wasn't higher on the list, and maybe it's because I felt like this story was so human. It wasn't really about the technology itself. Being able to put yourself back in these memories, utilize the music, the sound, the smells, which are very clearly scientifically proven to evoke memory. To me, it just didn't feel like it was the technology itself that was making that possible. If Phil had just been cleaning out an old storage cabinet and had found the note, even though maybe you could argue that without this technology, he would have never done that. If he had found the note, would he have had the same experience? Would he have maybe gone to the funeral? I don't know. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. I do know that this episode means a lot to people, and it means a lot to me too. I just liked the other two episodes a bit better. The heartbreak is very consistent with Black Mirror. Number 2 is Common People. This was the first episode of season 7, and right away I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be a good season. Common People is the epitome of what makes a good Black Mirror episode to me. It's that near future technology, drone insects replacing bees, some of the things going on in the background that you have these technological advancements, but the people, the common people, Mike and Amanda, he's a welder, she's a school teacher. They do not have the flexibility in their budget for these unforeseen health circumstances. The technology, the evolution is so near future. This one captivated me from the get-go. The future of technology isn't going to be, we go from A to all riding around in driverless flying cars and wearing sleek spacesuits and having robotic smart homes. No, there's going to be a societal staggering where the rich will get access to all of those things, but that will still need welders for quite a while who are working dangerous, high-risk jobs and not getting paid enough for it. They're literally in a post-B world, but everything still looks bleak and dusty and gray. What does that say about our future? Amanda is dealing with headaches, and it turns out she has this tumor where the medical prognosis does not look good. Their lives go from normal to what the F really quickly. Mike does a great job of playing that husband that does not want to lose their loved one and will do anything. So when this miracle cure surgery comes across that is free, it's just a subscription model, and it will basically make a clone of her brain and broadcast that in the cloud. Parts of our brain are now in the clouds. I thought that was so good. The commentary on the gig economy with like that dumb website that he eventually has to go on, do things like drink his own pee, snap his tongue in a mouse trap, all for the money to be able to pay for this ever increasing subscription model. The story of that is so good, but it's so not far from where we are. We already have people, so many people in this country that get a one bad diagnosis, healthy people who have done nothing wrong, where their entire world comes apart like that. And I don't even know how many people have gotten into those circumstances where they've had to do humiliation rituals or stoop to a level they never thought they would just to not see their loved ones die. When she started reading out the ads, that was insane. And that everything is Rivermine plus Lux, everything, even getting into this, the Lux deluxe service where you can actually program and control your mood so that you're almost like on Molly all the time, also says something about our society and our addiction to novelty, to technology, to scrolling, to feeling good, to that dopamine rush. There's so many different parts of this that are amazing societal commentaries on human beings and our relationship to technology that I could keep watching this and keep talking about it. Just remember, if you don't have to pay for something, you are the product. Anything free involves advertisements, including cloning parts of your brain and uploading them to the cloud. Also, the woman who comes through with her own tragic story of how she almost died but was saved by Rivermine, when she looked at them with no humanity in her eyes and kept trying to sell them and upcharge them on Rivermine Plus and the Lux edition, the visceral anger I felt for that woman in my body, knowing that she was able to control her moods, where she felt a little scared and in shock after that argument and was able to just flip a switch to be this cold, unfeeling corporate tech asshole. Healthcare executives and people who have no remorse, empathy, or humanity, whether they're getting people addicted to their drugs, whether they're denying people care. Clearly, this is pissing me off. Number one for me was Plaything. I freaking loved this episode. This episode slapped. I loved how grainy it was. The contrast between that 90s computer desktop dial-up vibe with the sleek, sanitized, minimalist state computer webcam DNA act of the police force in the future. And I have been thinking about it nonstop. It was gritty, it was creepy, it made my skin crawl. This man and even how he was as a teenager, being kind of no friends, strange, off-putting, but you also really feel bad for him because he had seen humanity's darkness from a young age between his father and the kids that bullied him. And it would make sense that he was so obsessed with these thronglets. When he took LSD, he could understand the language, what they were telling him, their curiosity of wanting more, of needing more, of wanting to grow, of wanting to live alongside humans, even make humanity better. I have regrets of what I used to do to my roller coaster tycoon park patrons. I would just like to say, I'm sorry for drowning you. I was no better than Lump. What it reveals about our humanity and how we're still stuck on this Darwinism 1.0 was absolutely fascinating. I love evolutionary psychology and behavioral psychology, and the themes of that we're in this world where we can do DNA testing, we have state computers, everything is connected. But then you see the cop just resorting to violence when he doesn't get his way was so on point for how we are as human beings. It's kind of this idea that we have the capacity to solve world hunger, to create world peace, basic income across the board so that nobody has to suffer anymore. But we don't. We still have these ego ass men and women in the nuclear rooms being no better than our caveman Neanderthal selves, batting their clubs at each other and trying to have bigger clubs. And yes, clubs is a euphemism for something else. Yes, it is. Damn, I did not expect this review to get me so fired up, especially these last two episodes. I had no idea how it would end. And the fact that he kept very innocently asking for this pen and paper, I thought he was just gonna draw some scribbling madness, but he actually drew this code, this language that the state computer could read. He did some freaking Ragabi ass Severance basement brain surgery to plug and play. I mean, and then there was this mass update and we're left, this operating system, this OS reset, we're left to wonder, was this death because the Thronglets deemed that humanity wasn't worth saving? Or is this mass update where we actually are able to evolve out of the instincts that once kept us alive? Because I would love to see what that kind of future looks like. And I think this is the beauty of Black Mirror, where we can really use our imaginations here. I do think everyone was about to wake up once more, and damn, I would love to see a part 2 of what that world actually looks like. I also love bringing Colin back in as a character. Why did he wipe the source code? Is it because he clearly saw the potential of what this game or not game environment meant and what it could mean for humanity? Was he operating on a higher level? Had he already maybe plugged himself into the Thronglets? Or was he just a loose cannon mad genius who would go on these rampages and wipe the source code? Now, one quick thing that is interesting here. On the last episode on USS Callister Infinity, when Walton is being arrested and the New York Times reporter is being interviewed on TV, you do see this news ticker of Hotel Reverie launch and Thronglets. So that's this idea that Thronglets did make its way to the market in some way, shape, or form. Did Colin end up creating another Thronglets? What do you think of that Easter egg? That's my ranking. I hope you enjoyed my very subjective explanations and analyses of these Black Mirror episodes. What were your rankings? Go ahead and sound off in the comments below. I know just from what I've seen on Patreon and my Discord that we are all over the place. Would love to hear why. Everyone has a different perspective and experience, memories, everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and leave a comment below, sign up for notifications, come check out my Patreon, say hello. We just launched a Discord. It It has sections for paid Patreon members as well as free members. Special shout out to my Waffle Party VIP members for supporting me, especially Matt Winbury, who helped me create and is moderating my Discord. He's a rock star, as well as all my other paid Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting me through it all. Leave a comment below with what you would like to see me review next. Make sure you join me for my Severance rewatch, as well as my Expanse book club that we are starting on Discord and Patreon. Stay safe out there. If a computer program tells you to put a hole in your head, maybe don't do it. Take care, friends. Bye.